Recognized gentleman from California, Mr. Takano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here today, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Congressman.
You're welcome. I want to talk about overtime protections, strong overtime protections that help America's middle class and ensure that workers are not overworked and underpaid. And as you know, the Secretary of Labor holds statutory authority to set the overtime threshold for non-exempt salaried workers under the Fair Labor Standards Act. Madam Secretary, what is your position on the appropriate overtime threshold and what that should be for salaried workers?
Well, thank you, Congressman, for bringing that up. As we move through a lot of the overtime stuff, it is in litigation. I know this is not the answer that we all want to hear when we're sitting on that side of the dais. I will continue.
I'm going to accept, I mean, the rulemaking.
Sure.
You can't comment on, as you go through rulemaking, on what that salary threshold should be,
Yeah.
right? But have you, in fact, made a decision to appeal the judgment?
Yeah, so as you're aware, the overtime rule that you're mentioning, the Biden administration is currently under litigation, and I am limited. What I will say this, the department is reviewing all the rules and issues by the Biden administration. The department's jurisdiction in overseeing the overtime regulations is critical. It is critical to all of the workforce, and we have a duty to periodically review that authority and ensure, and I will continue to do those periodic reviews and work with all members of Congress, but currently.
Just help me clarify, is the department appealing the decision? Is the decision on appeal now?
Well, currently, I am limited in what I can say as it is in litigation.
Okay. Well, you can't tell me whether you're planning to file an appeal or not file an appeal?
I will continue to work with the stakeholders who all are involved as we move through that process.
Well, can you tell me this? Are you committed to defending the authority, the statutory authority you have to set overtime pay thresholds?
Well, I have been working diligently with my agency heads, and there has been no decision made on appealing that.
Okay, I wish there could be more, but I respect that. As you know, the Wage and Hour Division is responsible for enforcing the minimum wage and overtime requirements and protecting children from being exploited by the workplace. Do you know what the current federal minimum wage is? What that's set at?
Yes, $7.25.
$7.25. Yeah. And do you think that's enough to keep a full-time worker out of poverty?
Well, I think, as mentioned in my hearing when I was under nomination, it is not up to the Department of Labor Secretary to determine federal minimum wage. That is a congressional issue. And I will enforce all of the laws. And I do think many states have determined what is the best fit for their respective states. And so I would look to Congress. If this is something that you all want to look at, I would give you the technical assistance to have this conversation, bring forth legislation, and then I would enforce that law. But I cannot sit here now as the Department of Labor Secretary and say what should be done that Congress has the authority to do.
So you're not going to give me your opinion on it, but I'll say I think most people would say that that's not enough to cover basic expenses.
That's why different states have determined what works best in their communities, and even in certain states like Oregon, what's in Portland is not the same what's in Grants Pass. So everybody will determine the one-size-fits-all does not work. But I do encourage Congress to take a look at this offer.
Okay. Can we move on? Well, I got your pledge to work with Congress on
Absolutely.
appropriate.
That is my job.
So, Madam Secretary, do you think wage theft is the problem? Is a problem in our country? Is there a problem of wage theft?
Oh, I think that there have been issues of wage theft in the past.
Okay. Do you think there's currently a problem?
People deserve, American workers deserve their right to have the wages that they have earned.
Well, let me say, wage theft continues, I believe, to be a pervasive problem that impacts millions of workers. Recent estimates show that workers throughout the U.S. are experiencing $15 billion annually from minimum wage violations alone. However, the Trump administration's proposed budget would reduce full-time employees at the Wage and Hour Division to 1,160 in fiscal year 26, a 19% reduction from the 1,435 full-time employees in fiscal year 24. How will fewer full-time Wage and Hour Division employees improve wage theft protections for workers?
Well, again, the mission of the Department of Labor is to protect the American worker first and certainly protect their wages. and the benefits that they have earned. Statutorily, we will follow the law, and I am 100% confident that the Department of Labor will continue to enforce when a law has been broken. And that will be inclusive of what is in the budget and the preliminary budget. I cannot speak to what the full budget will be, but I will look to Congress for appropriations on that, and we will fully enforce the law that is before me, and we will have the dollars to do so.
Well, thank you, Madam Secretary. I hope that with the reduced workforce, you'll be able to fulfill that commitment. I have my doubts, but thank you for being here today and answering my questions.
Thank you, Congressman.